Welcome, everyone. Today we're going through an explainer of Dr. Vikas Divyakirti's incredibly thought-provoking session on something almost all of us deal with at some point. We're talking about the right way to get out of the pain of a breakup, how to navigate toxic relationships, and basically mastering the absolute art of letting go. Okay, let's dive into this. So, be honest with me. Are you going through a painful breakup right now? I know exactly how that feels, especially when you're young, right? The sleepless nights, constantly checking your phone, that unbearable restlessness, and literally feeling like there's a heavy weight sitting right on your chest. Look, if you are in the middle of this emotional storm today, I want to tell you directly, you are absolutely not alone, and I promise you, this is definitely not the end of the world. You really have to remind yourself that this intense, agonizing pain you're feeling, it's mostly just chemistry and hormones acting up. Seriously, scientifically speaking, at this age, our emotions are just completely in overdrive. So this intense phase you're in, it isn't a permanent state of reality. It's really just a temporary biochemical storm in your body. And like all storms, it will pass. Section 1, Love, Pain, and Youth. You see, when we don't understand this emotional whirlwind, that unchecked pressure can actually become incredibly dangerous, particularly during our younger years. The source material actually shares some deeply tragic, true stories about this. We're talking about a brilliant student who literally lost their life right before the UPSC mains, just out of the sheer fear of a breakup. Or an intercaste couple that tragically broke under toxic societal and family pressure. There's even a story of a father who met a tragic end after a malicious video of his daughter was leaked. It's sobering, honestly. These stories serve as a really stark warning about the catastrophic, real-world costs of simply not knowing how to manage relationship pressure. If you cannot handle yourself, how will you handle the world? I really want you to stop and reflect on this profound question for a second, right? We all want to conquer the world, build massive careers, and do great things. But managing your own internal emotional turmoil, that is the absolute prerequisite for any outward success. Learning to manage your own mind is honestly more crucial than any degree you'll ever get. Section 2, Give up versus let go. This is where things get fascinating because understanding this core conceptual contrast is literally your ultimate weapon for emotional survival. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how often we completely mistake giving up for letting go, but they are incredibly different. Giving up means, well, you accept defeat, but you're still living with that heavy, lingering frustration and bitterness just holding you down. Letting go, on the other hand, that means dropping that emotional burden entirely and erasing the resentment from your mind completely. It's about gracefully leaving behind what you couldn't get and finally finding real peace. Let's look at the number 40. The source shares this wild story of a 40-year-old civil servant who remains unmarried to this very day. Why? Well, because one early betrayal in his 20s made him generalize that all women are deceitful. This is the absolute classic, tragic example of giving up instead of letting go. By holding on to the corpse of a dead relationship and carrying that bitterness for literally decades, he isolated his entire life. Section 3, How to Handle Rejection. So, how do we actually, practically, survive the sting of someone saying no to us? Well, it's time to practice something we can call democratic love. Basically, this is the emotional maturity to accept that just as you have the fundamental right to propose, the other person has the exact same equal right to say no. I hate to break it to you, but you aren't royalty, and you aren't entitled to a guaranteed yes from everyone you meet. Respecting their boundaries, that's love. Throwing a tantrum, that's just your ego talking. And hey, just remember the sheer vastness of the world. If not this person, well, someone else. There are literally 8 billion people on Earth, so a single rejection is absolutely never the end of the world. It definitely doesn't define your self-worth. Honestly, if things didn't work out, you should probably congratulate yourself, because you might have just avoided being totally trapped in the wrong dynamic. Section 4, Giving breakups a beautiful turn. But what happens if you're already in a relationship and it's just kind of run its course? How do you exit that gracefully? There is this famous piece of poetry by Sahir Ludhianvi, and this brilliantly illustrates a profound lesson. It says, if an affair cannot reach its destination, it is better to leave it with a beautiful turn. Art shows us that if a relationship can't reach its goal, ending it with dignity and grace is the ultimate mark of true maturity. It's way better than dragging it through some ugly, messy demise. When a breakup happens, you generally see 3 types of reactions. First, the neutral reaction, just walking away quietly, no drama. Second, the toxic revenge, seeking to completely destroy them. Please absolutely never do this. And third, the absolute healthiest path, what we'll call the Ja Simran Ja approach. Yeah, like the movie. It basically means go live your life. It's finding the inner strength to genuinely wish them well and happily move forward with your own journey.
Section 5. How to avoid toxic relationships. Sometimes, though, you find yourself already trapped in a bad dynamic, where just walking out the door immediately isn't really an option.
Let's say there are kids involved or complex obligations that mean you simply cannot leave right away. To survive these unavoidable toxic bonds, you need a serious strategy. Step 1, accept the reality of the situation. Stop wishing it was different. Step 2, drop all expectations of the other person so you can stop fighting a daily war. And step 3, emotionally detach to protect your health. You have to create your own mental safe space so you can coexist without the constant draining friction. And guys, this is a literal lifesaver. Do not let a toxic relationship give you stress-induced diabetes or high blood pressure. Diseases aren't just about what you eat, they are deeply, deeply linked to chronic emotional stress. So use emotional detachment as your literal shield. You have to protect your peace at all costs. Section 6. Letting go, the path forward. Let's step into the final and definitely the most elevated phase of our journey here, moving from basic empathy to true empowerment. Let's move to and see how this builds. Historically, literature actually gives us an absolute masterclass in letting go. Just look at the evolution of Radha's character when Krishna leaves. In 16th century poetry, she's depicted as weeping constantly, refusing to even wash her clothes. By the 17th century, she is physically weak from heavy sorrow. But fast forward to the 20th century, and poets depict a profoundly mature Radha. Instead of weeping, she genuinely wishes Krishna immense success for the greater benefit of society. I mean, that is the very definition of transcending selfishness. We see this incredible maturity in Yashodhara, the wife of Buddha, too. I mean, Buddha left her in the middle of the night without a single word. The pain must have been absolutely devastating. But years later, when he returned as an enlightened being, Yashodhara didn't fight her ego or hold on to all that deep resentment. Instead, she proudly handed her son to Buddha for his greater mission, fully realizing her partner was meant for a completely different, higher path. So whether you are dealing with a broken heart right now, a major failure, or just the heavy anxiety of a relationship you left behind, keep Dr. Divyakirti's ultimate mantra in your mind. Why fear what will happen in life? If nothing else, there will be experience. This right here is your universal shield against the fear of the unknown. Seriously, stop fearing the future because no matter what happens, you are going to grow from it. We're going to end this explainer by asking you to be brutally honest with yourself for a second. Are you holding on to the corpse of a dead relationship? Or are you finally ready to let go? If you are still carrying that bitterness and toxicity on your shoulders, do yourself a massive favor and put that burden down today. Step into your own empowerment, let it go, and start a fresh, completely free chapter of your life. Thank you so much for exploring this with me.